it quite often, and I want to bring it up again today. It's another look at staying at it. Staying at it. So what am I talking about when I say that? Staying at it. Anyone?
Persistence, keeping it up.
Persistence, keeping it up, staying with it. So I wrote down here, in business, keeping on it is what good agents do until the final whistle. They run through the finish line, so to speak. Until the prospect says, no, I really don't want your product or your service, so please stop contacting me. All right? Do you get those words? No, I don't want your product or your service, so please stop contacting me. Until then, write this down, the door is open. Until then, the door is open. A classic mistake where we fall down as salespeople is where we don't continue doing what we're supposed to be doing. In other words, we give up too early. We give up way too early. Consider this. Outside most ballparks or rock concerts, you're going to find a scalper or two selling or buying tickets, right? Say yes. You're going to see scalpers buying and selling tickets. These folks make a living selling tickets to sold-out shows and events, and their method of operation is always the same. They hit up anyone and everyone they can see and ask them to buy. If they're not interested in buying or selling, what do they do immediately? Next. Move on. They go next. They move on right away. Which is what a lot of us do in our prospecting. When the call doesn't result in a sale, we, in a lot of cases, banish the prospect, much like the scalper, and then we move on. So a study that I've quoted from before, they've investigated the number of times a prospect was called before a salesperson waved the white flag, before they gave up. So here's the numbers. You might want to write these down. 48% quit after the first contact. 48% of all salespeople quit after the first contact. 72% stop after the second contact. That means almost 3/4 of the people stop before they contact the person the second time. And 90% wave the white flag after the fourth contact. 90%. So the first contact, half the people. So think about this. Half of all the salespeople quit virtually after the first time they touch base with somebody. Think about that. Half. So when you touch base with them, if you touch base with them twice, you almost automatically, by definition, stand by yourself. If you touch base with them 4 times through a conversation over and over, either by cell phone. Now this is, by the way, this is cell phone, email, phone call, or in person. Got it? They just don't talk to them. They just don't communicate. So, why do 90% of the salespeople quit so quickly? Anyone?
They lost the lead.
They lost the phone number. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
They lost the phone number? I'll bet you half that's the case. Okay, what else?
Rejection.
The rejection because the client
Will say no.
pushed them away. Okay, good. What else?
Gave up.
Sorry?
Gave up.
They gave up, but they only called him one time. Or they only touched him one time. Why would people give up?
They believe.
They don't what? They don't believe the client wants to buy, or they don't believe they can actually make the sale? Interesting. Okay, good. Michael?
They believe the client.
They believe the client. Okay, good. Tess?
They're looking for instant gratification.
They're looking for instant gratification. Okay, all right. Steve?
They feel it's a waste of time.
They feel it's a waste of time.
They go visit them, they're not home, and then they go visit others, they're not home, they're saying, oh, this is a waste of time.
This is a waste of time. Okay.
When you feel like you're gonna bite them, you should call them 5 times.
And then, okay, so if you talk to them once, okay, but if you talk to them more than once, you feel like you're bugging them.
After 5
After 5 times for sure, right? Got it. Okay. Interesting. Clement.
They don't see the value by being consistent. Consistency is the key.
They don't see the value of being consistent. Okay? All right. Good. Good, good, good. So, I wrote down here, some get caught up in busy work. Who said they get busy? Somebody said they get busy. Okay? You get a lead. You spent some time. Some of you, a lot of you spent the last 3 hours working on getting leads, right? Say yes. Okay, some of you got some leads. Actually, some of you took those leads and converted them to appointments. That's great. That's awesome. But the rest of us, we got this lead, and then you go to a little lunch and learn like we're doing here, and you kind of shift gears slightly. And then we go to our advanced script class that we're going to have in about 30 minutes. And we do that for an hour. And then at 2 o'clock, we have things that come up, family things that come up, business things that come up, walkthroughs that we already had committed to, phone calls and follow-up. So by 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon, we tend to what? Forget about it. We forgot. We tend to forget. So we spent all morning doing all this great work only to have human nature kick in on us at 3, 4, 5 o'clock this afternoon, and it's no more diabolical than we forgot. Okay? And we get involved in the busy work because the busy work is easier than what? Than following up. The work of the family, the work of going to the follow-up, the walkthrough, the things that we deem important. We deem a walkthrough as more important than our prospecting time. What's more important in the pecking order of business? How does it go? Okay, getting some new business. What else? Following up, prospecting. And yet, if you have a listing appointment, that's probably prime time for you guys, right? And what's below that? Maybe a showing appointment. Or equal to for some of you. Equal to showing appointment or a listing appointment are the top. And then after that comes everything else. Okay? Well, in some cases it's follow-up. But in most cases, you'll let follow-up go by the wayside, and you'll let prospecting go by the wayside if almost anything else gets in the way. You guys get this? And yet, you spent all morning looking for leads, looking for appointments. I wrote down here, the fact is that 10% of salespeople make the 5th call, and studies show that 80% of sales are made after the 5th sales call. Write that down. 80% of the sales are made after the 5th call. I wrote down here, superstar salespeople use persistence and their stick-to-it stick-to-itiveness to win and win big. And the air gets thinner. The same way the air gets thinner at high altitudes, the competition dies off after a few calls. What did I just prove to you? What did I just show you? After the first call, you lose 50% of your competition. After the second call, you lose 70-something% of the competition. After the fourth call, 90% of the people aren't competing with you. It just by sheer logic, you should make 4 phone calls. Because you'll be all by yourself. So, Neil, what do I say? I'm bugging them. How do I follow up? What's possible? So we work on that all the time. What if you just called and used the hot market script the first time and let them know what was going on in the marketplace? And if you got a lead and they seemed interested, what if you called them back a week later and found out what properties listed and sold in that week and just let them know that? What if you just did that? Could you do that? Yes. Is there anybody here that couldn't research that, what the difference was in the week, and call them and say, hey, there was 2 listings. Hey, there was 2 pendings. Did you know that we had a property close? Are people interested in what's going on in their neighborhood? Yes or no? Yes. Absolutely. It's no more difficult than that. Now, football teams, for those of you that watch sports and watch how teams work, especially football, their job is to move the football down the field, correct? Yes. Everybody with me? Yes. And score, correct? Yes. Do they always throw the ball only? Do they always run the ball only? Do they go to the left sometimes? Do they go to the right sometimes? Do they go to the left and the right sometimes? Do they sometimes throw left and then throw the ball behind them? Right? So there are many ways of doing the same thing, of getting the ball what? Downfield. Most of us, because it's free and easy, make a phone call. And that's our only source, our only activity. We make a phone call. But you could make a phone call. When you talk to somebody and it's a lead, generally speaking, if it's a decent lead, they're going to give you a cell phone number, a regular phone number, and an email address, and an address if you ask the question. Why don't we get that information, generally speaking? It's because we don't ask for it. Get it? But when you ask for it, you'll generally get all 4. But if you don't get all 4, you get 2 or 3. Now we at least can move the ball down the field in those areas. We could email them. That's a touch. We could call them. That's a touch. We could send them a postcard. Something. Do you want to really stand out in your client's mind immediately?
Yes.
Do something that most people haven't done for 10 or 12 years. Send a postcard. Send a postcard. Sorry?
Handwritten postcard.
Handwritten postcard, thank you. So, and even if it's a standard postcard that says thinking of you, if you handwrite something on there, you know, it was great talking with you, just something, that's great, okay? So you're not going to send out 1,000 of them. You're only going to send out a couple this week because you only got 2 or 3 good leads this week. But if you got 2 or 3 great leads this week and 2 or 3 great leads the week before, and you're going to get 2 or 3 great leads next week, you see how it's not that expensive and you're touching base with people. So now we're moving the football down the field by using more than just the phone. By the way, could you go visit them at the door?
Yes.
Interesting, huh? So not only can you use the address to send them a note, you could use the address to go visit. And while you're there, why don't you knock 10 doors around that problem? I'm just saying. You could do a 5-5-10 while you're out there talking to them. You were wondering how I was going to get that into this meeting. How's he going to do that today? The key ingredient that differentiates the average salesperson from the truly great ones is persistence. The persistence to make that first call. Okay, you made the first call. The persistence to make the second call. And the third and the fourth and the half a dozen calls that you might have to make, or the emails or the visits. It's persistence that increases a client's confidence in a salesperson's ability. Ladies and gentlemen, think about the money you've awarded people, the contracts you've awarded people, the things you've paid money for, the cars you bought. You've done that in most cases by rewarding somebody who was persistent with the follow-up to stay in touch with you over time. That's what your clients are going to do with and for you. They are going to reward you for your persistence. I wrote down here, superstar salespeople don't fully expect to sell anything on the first call. Think about what I'm just going to say. They really don't expect to sell something on the first call. Most buyers and sellers are not going to be ready to sign a contract when the salesperson calls. Most of the time, right at that moment when you make the first call, are people really, really ready to buy or sell something at that exact moment? Yes or no? No. Yet, when we make the call, we're discouraged that they didn't set an appointment and sign a listing with us. Are we nuts? And to make matters worse, we don't follow up on the lead. They said, I might be interested. They said, I might, if you asked enough questions, I might be interested next week or next month. So instead of following up on that lead, thanking them for talking to us, following up on the lead, what do? Sorry?
Set an appointment right away.
Well, you set an appointment, but most of the people, if you don't set an appointment, here's my question, not to you, but to the group. Has there been any time where you couldn't set an appointment and you then gave up on the follow-up of that lead? It went from hot to Does that ever happen? And yet, when you call that client back a month or two from now, because you found that lead in your purse or your pocket or someplace, you say, wow, you know, here's Mary Jane. Let me follow up and see what was going on. I think she was going to do something. You call her back and she's what? In escrow. Now, those are the ones you never tell me about. You only tell me about the one where, Neil, remember you told me to follow up and call that person, and I did, and they're now buying, and I'm now in escrow. You tell me about those, proudly. But not the ones where you didn't follow up, or you forgot to follow up, or you didn't take the extra time. I wrote down here, rather than trying to make the sale, you've got to get this. Rather than trying to make the sale, or absolutely set the appointment, your first call should be to try and implement a follow-up strategy on a client who's willing and ready to do something now or in the near future. Now, my definition of now or in the near future could be different than your definition of now or in the near future. But have a definition and have a strategy. I never expected a client to list with me when I called them at that moment. Now that's converse to thinking, but I didn't. What I expected was to get a lead or an opportunity. And then, boy, were you in trouble, Mr. and Mrs. Client, if I got a lead or an opportunity, because I was going to follow up until you told me, go away. Don't call me again. And if you look around at the superstar real estate agents, you'll find that's one of their best traits, is they get a lead and they follow up on that lead, even if they don't set the appointment right then and there. I wrote down the key to converting your pipeline into actual sales is the ability to hang in there when others have given up. I'm going to say that again. You might want to write this down and put this right in front of you every day. The key to converting your pipeline into actual sales is the ability to hang in there, stay with the client when others have given up. When others have given up. That's the key to my 40 years worth of success, overnight success. Is that everyone else wants it fast. They want it quick. They want it now. They got to have it now. They got to have it now. They got to have it now. This is a marathon, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a sprint. That's what business is about. It's a marathon, not a sprint, in what we do. I'm going to be here for a long time. It's a great opportunity. And you think about this. With little investment, little financial capital up front, without a lot of technical training, how to pull comps, hard or easy? Hard or easy?
Easy.
Easy. How to find a phone number, hard or easy?
Easy.
Okay. How to learn a script, hard or easy?
Easy.
Your noses are growing. It is easy, you just don't think it is. The return is phenomenal. And the difference is not my education, not the fact that I have money or don't have money. It isn't that I can buy an ad or can't buy an ad. It's the consistency over time and the fact of the persistence and the follow-up of a lead and opportunity. I have the same opportunities. All superstars have the same opportunities as you guys. I said this in January 5th or 6th at our first meeting. The neat part of that day was all the superstars, all the legendary agents that we put on these pedestals and that make $700, $800, $1 million, $2 million a year, all started and were all at the same place we were at on January 5th, weren't they? Same place. Same identical place. We all started on January 5th at the same place. The difference is, now we are March 9th. Have you made the calls that you're supposed to make? Have you talked to the people that you're supposed to talk to? Have you done the follow-up that you're supposed to do? Have you learned the scripts and dialogues that you should have been learning? Have you done that in the 2.5 or 2 1/3 months that have gone by? Because I assure you they have. Every day, every week, every month. Every day, every week, every month. The key to converting your pipeline into actual sales is the ability to hang in there when others have given up. It means being persistent with phone calls. It means being persistent with emails. It means being persistent with personal visits. It means doing your job even on the days you don't want to. I wrote down here, today matters. So let's make sure, think about this. Okay, we're going to the Mike Ferry event, or a lot of us, probably about the last count, about 95 or 96 of you are going there. So, good job. For the rest of the week, when you're driving to the event, you're driving home from the event, you're on a break at the event, I want you to call your past client in Sphere. Take the list with you. Take the leads with you. Follow up on those leads. Set an appointment for the end of the week. Set an appointment for next Monday or Tuesday. Take this opportunity. You're going to be in the car, okay? Someone's going to be driving. A lot of you are going to carpool, so switch it around. Let someone drive, and the other 3 of you move around and try to make appointments. Why not? What are you going to do? Talk to each other and tell jokes? Tell dirty jokes? I don't know. Doesn't make sense. Let's make some money on this opportunity. Let's make some money at the breaks. Let's take this opportunity to learn and then take action and make today count. Let's make this one of the best weeks, most productive weeks we've ever had. Thank you.